Welcome, everyone, to our very first episode of the Human Series. Thank you, everyone, for joining. I am Rania. Professionally, I lead transformation, whatever that means. What it actually means is I help make sure humans and technology work together because apparently you need to work both to make it happen. So, unofficially, I ask a lot of questions. I connect a lot of people, and somehow I show up when everyone else's meetings, or I end up basically booking meetings with everyone's on it, which is kind of how this came about. So we called this episode 1 Hiring Humans because honestly, it's a weird time between humans and AI. AI can write your resumes, fix your grammar, build your presentations, even be on an interview for you. I think Tyler maybe has a little something about that later. But I'm sure it's basically doing everything. If it can just tell me when to breathe, because I think right now is when I need to learn when to breathe. Be like, it's okay, you're stressed at this very moment, breathe. That would really be great. I think I'm one update away from that, I feel. So today we're asking a simple question. In a world of technology, it can do so much. But what actually makes someone human? And we're going behind the scene with these amazing people on your screen. These are my favorite people at SLS. Don't tell the other people there, okay? Don't tell them. But they actually live this every single day with hiring humans. They do everything from meeting people, building teams, and figuring out who we need to make sure it happens correctly. Full disclosure, they're going to introduce themselves. This is not your LinkedIn bio. This is something kind of different, but feel free to follow us on LinkedIn whenever you're ready. So let's start with the guy in the office himself, Tyler.
Oh, gosh. Could have started with anybody, but okay. So my name is Tyler. I'm the operations manager here at Serverless Guru. Basically, I consider myself, the jack of all trades. People come to me with all sorts of issues and problems, and I just do my best to solve them. And then I also do hiring, so a little bit of everything.
I love that. Diana?
Hi there, I'm Latin manager. I can describe myself currently in my role as the person who makes the interviews in Spanish. So I like to talk to people a lot, not interview them because I like to know their human side. This is the reason why we are here for. So yeah, I like to talk to people a lot and try to find out what they are truly are and meet the person behind the CV and see who are we are hiring.
I love it. Penny?
Nice. Hi, I'm Penny. Hopefully, I'm not on too much of a delay
Okay.
like I was when we started. Um, my work here is centered around people development and building strong teams, or at least attempting to. But I'm really passionate about understanding what drives people and their potential and how we can make a connection based on that.
I love that. And I think as a people connector myself, that's what I like to say that I do. Um, it's really important that I think we connect with people. And most people think that hiring starts with a job posting, but I think you guys know that that's not false. So long before anyone presses, apply, what are the conversations that are happening behind the scenes? So maybe we'll start with you, Diana, because you talk about, talking to people and getting to know people behind the CV. So how does a role actually come to life, or how do we have opportunities, and what conversations need to happen for that to happen?
Um, Usually it starts with the problem and the team is growing, priorities are changing all the time. And as you mentioned it, Rania, we are in an AI boom right now. So they need to look after what is next in your team, what they want to achieve as a team. And usually what the team is requesting or is needed is someone that can grow with them and someone who can solve maybe common issues that the team can have. And that's when a role begins to take shape there when the problem is there on the table.
And I think it's hiring is always, circular. So some days you need the more, some days you need the less. Penny, do you kind of agree that, being in partnership within our team and being close with them is always like needed to make sure who needs what when?
Oh, I totally agree. So we can have a conversation about, I mean, when they're looking for someone new, I kind of want to know what are the technical, of course, but the human side of it, what is it they're actually looking for? How are we going to, what's the human's experience going to be once they're here? What's their work week going to look like? All those things for sure.
Amazing. So opportunities exist. Amazing. My most dreaded part, and I feel like a lot of people's dreaded part, and sometimes where the AI comes in very strongly, is, the application. So here I've looked at probably at postings and say, I've met 49 and a half out of these 50 requirements. I don't know if I should be actually applying to this role or if I should just become an alpaca farmer. Some days. Like maybe that's what I'm going to end up doing because I don't necessarily meet all those requirements. So, but then I apply. What happens after someone clicks apply, Tyler? Walk us through that process. So someone, and maybe we'll speak for SLS. Someone goes on the site, someone clicks on apply at SLS for a posting. What actually happens?
All right. So this is going to be based on if everything through the process goes well, because there's other stuff in between. But if everything goes well, when you apply, you obviously first receive that email that says, thanks for applying. And then we get a notification and we review you. We are reviewing you based on the job description, trying to see if you're a good fit for the role just based on paper. And then from there, if we like you, we send you to an assessment. And then once that assessment's complete, we go into an intro call. This intro call, we're just trying to figure out, who you are, get to know you a little bit, maybe verify some items that we were unsure about. And then once that's complete, if everything, again, goes well, we send you to that technical review. And that's going to be where our team reviews you on the technical side. And then they're going to schedule a technical call with you to really get into the meat of what we're working on and see if that is a good fit for the team inside the actual project. And if they like you for that, then there is a final call usually with our leadership team who then says yes or no. And then we get an offer and get you into our team and get you going.
I love that. And I think it's important to know, like, as long as you kind of hit some of those requirements in the job postings, like don't apply for a job and be like, hi, I'm an alpaca farmer and I don't have those, but you have to have some of those technical requirements, but we're not looking for like a perfect match, but as long as it's appealing as an application, correct, you would say?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
So what is the biggest misconception, Penny, do you think people have when you guys are screening resumes? Is it AI? Is it humans?
What? I think it's like that the resume is going to tell me who you are, because it doesn't. It doesn't. It tells me where you've been, for sure. It tells me your potential. It tells me, your certificates. It tells me what your title has been, years of experience, skill sets, certainly that you've listed out, that type of thing. But it's not going to tell me what you're going to do in a hard time when things get rough. It's not going to tell me how you show up for your team. It's not going to tell me whether or not you're willing to grow, learn, adapt. It's just a starting point, And
I love that. It doesn't tell me who you are. It tells me what you've been through or what you've done. Is very different, because two people could have done the exact same thing. They could have done it very differently.
We have that a lot, right? We have that a lot, actually.
And so I do appreciate that, it gets you in the door, but it doesn't necessarily like tell us who you are. And that's why I think when we're deciding who gets that call, and, always, I think people are like, why did that person get the interview and I didn't? So maybe, Penny, when you're deciding who are you deciding? You're looking at that application, and it does tell you who they were, but maybe not who they are or what their potential is. What are we really looking for?
Okay. I'm looking for who's going to have the best promising conversation, actually. And I'm determining that based on the resume, their socials that they've given me, like LinkedIn, and also the assessments that we've put them through. I'm looking inside the details. Hopefully they're showing that a little bit of certainly their skill sets, because we're hiring for a certain position and it's technical, right? usually. But I'm looking for how they displayed career pivots, how they showed growth mindset, by doing projects and things like that. Evidence of mentorship or leadership of some kind where they gave back to the team and how they communicated that, and then maybe ownership as well.
I think one of the things you said is like LinkedIn or like other projects, because I know we typically do hire for technical. So you're expecting them, and this is for anyone that's listening, for them to add any of those on the resume so you can go see it before you can even call them. Like, ooh, that seems interesting.
Yes, please do that.
You have best foot forward, right?
Or we'll ask for it separately because we want it. We want to get an idea of who the person is going to show up as, and then we can have a broader conversation. That's just the starting point, but we need more meat in order to cook the steak, right?
Love it. So Tyler, you seem like an interesting type of dude. You look for those interesting people. Have you ever looked at a resume and thought, I need to meet this person? What about that person?
Absolutely.
Tell me yes or no. And then if so, what stood out about that resume that made it like, I gotta call these people?
Yeah. So for me, I'm kind of a weird one where I will schedule an interview with someone just based on how their resume is formatted. I'll be like, wow, this is like, I just got to tell them how good their resume is formatted, But I think the most interesting one that I ever scheduled was a surf instructor who was completely self-taught. Like their background was surf instructor, and then they're like self-taught through Coursera and stuff like this. And I was like, how does a surf instructor go from wanting to do that to then code? So I had to meet with him. Obviously, it wasn't necessarily a good fit because they needed a lot more upskilling, but super interesting. The person just said, like, I can't surf forever. And I was like, oh, well, I guess that's true, But yeah, so I do like to interview people, even if they aren't necessarily 100% what we're looking for, just to kind of see, their story and stuff like that.
So what you're saying is shoot your shot, because Tyler.
Yeah, why not?
Shoot your shot.
I'm not, especially if I'm reviewing the resume.
So wait, Diana, now tell me, he said a surfer. What's your most unconventional background you've seen? And, can someone who is underqualified, I know in Tyler's case they wasn't, but can someone who's underqualified and people can still get a similar profile or have it?
Yes, definitely. I think he was a teacher. When I look at her resume, I can realize that she was a teacher, but she comes from a boot camp. Here in Latam, it's very common to find these boot camps where they train people with a completely different background from tech, and they train them in specific skills. So I found her resume, and I decided to look for it for two reasons. One, she was junior. I was looking for a junior profile. And two, she was an English teacher, and I was looking for someone who can speak English because we were working with a client from the US. And then I discovered a great talent, and now she's a senior dev, very committed with her current company, and also a great friend. So that's the most unusual CV I've ever seen, but she ended up being great.
And so really, we're telling people it's never too late. If someone's listening and thinking, I think my career path has been a bit messy and maybe not linear. Clearly, I used to surf or I used to teach. And is that a disadvantage, or are we really open to people with career, I want to say, pivots, for lack of better words? Tyler, maybe you can take this one because maybe you have an interesting insight on it.
Yeah, for me, I'd say like, no way. Like if your career path makes no sense, still apply, because speaking from experience, I've done a lot of different jobs that make no sense when you look at them together.
Tell us.
Those
very interested.
I was a mechanic. I built wind turbines. I built houses. I worked on a factory line. I wrote SOPs and JSAs, and I've just done a lot of different stuff. And
But I want to stay in any houses you built. Just asking.
if you go up to Mount Hood in Oregon, you can see a cabin that I built literally from the concrete up, involved in every single stage, including putting on the roof. So yeah, I would say there are homes you can see that I have built, it's a really fun thing because, you get to see something. That was probably one of my favorite jobs. But I just think that all of those skills and everything that you gain along the way, they do have value because you don't know how they're going to relate to what you're currently doing. And you'd be surprised, just the most odd things that you've done can help you in your current job. It's crazy.
And I think one of the things that I will say about my career, which has been always look for stretch opportunities within your position, irrelevant of your position, because soft skills take you, like, yes, obviously we are looking for some hard skills because sometimes that's what the role takes. But even if you have the hard skills, it doesn't guarantee you the job because your soft skills are just as important and people don't talk about it as much. And those are like, I lead a team, and one of the things that I always say is, if you can't communicate, you can be the best person at X thing. But if you cannot talk to the team, if you can't be very succinct in what you're trying to say or expansive when you need to be, and I think having those different backgrounds and different careers make a big difference because you get to talk to different audiences, talk to different people, and you can connect easier because you've had those experiences. They don't always have to be in the same field. So I 100% agree. This is literally, I always like when people do a little pivot and U-turns into their positions because it does give them a little bit more roundness to what they do. I love that. So I want to say it's actually my favorite part. And I think this part gets a bad rap. So interviews, I do sweat it out. Don't get me wrong. I am super nervous, but I think I have now learned to pretend that I'm so cool. Like, guys, what do you mean? You're so lucky to talk to me, as I'm freaking out in the back end, of course. But I think candidates always feel like the team that's talking to them is judging them. And I also feel like the team that's being talked to feel like the candidate's judging them. So it's actually a very interesting position. But maybe, Penny, let me ask you this question. What makes an interview from your side and the candidate sides feel like a conversation instead of an interrogation?
That's a good question. I think it's when we're trying to learn about each other rather than evaluate each other or judge each other, I should say. The irony, though, is the more as a hiring person, if we're trying to control it too hard in the situation, of course, we have to have a structure that makes it fair. But beyond that, try not to control it so hard so that it allows the candidate and myself to be more authentic in that interview.
I love it. And I think the authenticity makes a big difference. I think maybe, Tyler, is that something you're trying to uncover during this, I want to say, process?
I would say yes, in a way. For me, in my interviews, when I'm doing them, my biggest thing I'm looking for is just general confidence in what you're saying. You know what I mean? It's your confidence about your skills that help me see what kind of personality you have and maybe how you'd fit in with our team. And again, what you said earlier, soft skills matter. Like, they are very important to any role. And confidence is one of those soft skills that you have. And if you're not confident in your skills, to me, it feels disingenuous and it feels like you're trying to fake me out. You know what I mean?
I think that faking out is, as I also hire people, when someone is trying to fake it is actually a big flag. So for you, Diana, I want to ask, what are some questions that you ask that maybe tell you more about the person themselves than they realize? And what's something that candidates don't realize you're paying attention to? And I think Tyler kind of started that.
I like to know how people react when they receive not only a feedback, a good feedback, but a bad feedback. So I usually ask them about what they did with the last feedback, with the bad feedback they received, because this is telling me what kind of person you are, what is the way you are seeing this feedback, um, if you are humble, if you are human, or if you are fully technical people like I did. Like the difference, you can see it and you can tell from the answer. So you can get an answer like a very technical oriented, like I correct the process, I never made the mistake again because I learned how to do it. But you can also receive an answer like, okay, I did my self process. I kind of discovered myself in another scenario different that I was supposed to learn from, and things like that. So that answer could make a big impact on your process, because I'm trying to learn who you are, not only from the experience and the knowledge you have, but also you as a person. Like again, we are hiring humans, and that's what we are looking for, a real human, a real person.
And I think Penny said it earlier when she said growth mindset. And I think what I'm hearing from you is accountability. So are you taking accountability for potentially your mistakes and not saying, oh, it's this third party thing that we figured out, we discovered, we fixed, versus I took it, it was more of an accountability piece where, oh, I messed up in this, I messed up in that. There is a question in the chat that says, is there something as too authentic?
Too authentic.
Can I start with this? Can I actually, someone,
Yeah, go ahead.
someone who's authentically too authentic potentially, I want to say, if you show up as you, I don't think it's too authentic. That's who you're going to be at work. I think that's what the people that you're hiring are looking for. Who are you going to be with your team? Who are you going to be with the client? Who are you going to be just in general? Because that's the insight that I think I'm, as a hiring person, or me as someone who's a part of a team, wants to know. I don't want you to fake authenticity or even limit your authenticity. Obviously, I'm a huge personality, as you can see. It's a little too much for everyone. But this is what someone's like signing up for, right? And it either works for them and the team or it doesn't. And to me, I look at it like it's going to be the right fit for me or it's not. So if they see all of this, and it's a lot's taken, guys. So, and they're going to be like, yep, that's the right match. And they're going to make a decision based on that, or they're going to pass on because I'm not the right fit for that culture. I'm not the right culture ad. So that's, to me, at least but maybe from the other side of you guys, what do you guys think? Is there such thing as too authentic?
For me, I'd say
disagree. Please disagree.
I'd say there's a little bit of too much you can be. Yes. And I only base this off of like one interview that I had where, based on paper, the guy was like a really good fit. And then we get into the meeting and he's telling me, he's like, actually, he's like, I have that on there, but I just don't really know it. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. Well, put that down. I go to the next item and he's like, really? I touched that in college, but it's just there because I've heard of it. And I'm like, okay. And so basically throughout the whole meeting, he told me that half the things on the job description, he actually doesn't know them, but he's heard about them. And I was like, oh, you could have refreshed yourself.
He told me these are important things to bring up.
Did you a favor? I think.
Some of these items, yeah. But no, yeah, it was like it's good to be honest and all that, because it's really important, and I'd rather you be honest, but at the same time, it's like, a little bit of that is like, whoa, man, that's.
What if they weren't authentic and they didn't tell you this when they started the role, and then they don't have any of this knowledge?
Yeah, it'd be way worse. But that's why we have a wonderful technical team that will review them and say, hey, this person actually doesn't know these things. So yeah,
And that's
it's teamwork that makes it to the end.
And at the same time, I think that will let you know, like we are all just mentioning it, cultural fit. Like if we are looking for that level, okay, you can come here and trying to build new things here, or you definitely find out that we are not the right match for you at this point of your career with that level of authenticity. Is knowledge also and information for the company too, and also for the candidate, because they'll find out that we are not the right company for them in cultural terms.
for sure.
That's true. I showed up as an authentic self once and said the word excitement or exciting about 27,000 times once. I got the job, but I remember thinking afterward, ruminating it afterwards, like I showed up way too excited, basically, way too excited. I think I think it's good to show up authentically, though. Try to do your best to be yourself, just in general. And if you don't have the skill sets, do us a favor. Tell us tell us tell us
Okay,
they can
I
write
know
on
I was
your
joking when I
resume.
said you don't have to have all the requirements, but I think you kind of do have to have a minimum
Yes, no, right?
requirements of like,
Yes.
I need to be a full stack developer, but I've never actually developed before. I'm gonna need you to have some of that qualities and expertise to kind of apply. Don't be like, I'm an alpaca farmer and today I woke up and I'm just gonna apply for this other completely job. So there is a balance. So I love that. And then let me actually ask you guys, when you're when you guys are interviewing, what things do people say besides I don't know any of this stuff that make you question all your life choices in HR? Like, as it while you're interviewing people, you're like, oh, please don't say that.
How about when they say, "What does your company do?" Yes, we've had that many times. And it makes it very obvious that you didn't do any research on serverless guru at all. And so that's a big red flag. That's a big red flag.
So do some research. I'm not telling you to be an expert, but
No.
do some research.
I'll give you some intel in the interview for sure, but come knowing a little bit for sure.
No, I love it. Tyler, have you had someone make you, besides I don't know any of this, someone told me to talk about this?
Usually it's the question that they say, like, can you send me the job description so I can review it? And I'm like, you didn't review the job description before the meeting? Like, what are you doing? But yeah, no, usually it's questions that are repetitive that just kind of drive me nuts. Like, what's culture like? Or, the chat GPT questions. Those are the ones that kind of drive me nuts.
Yeah. Diana?
I think the typical question of what is a typical day within sls.guru. I'll say that, like,
You're like,
okay.
there's no 2 days that are typical. I can tell you that.
Yeah, of course, never.
There's no
Never.
such thing as a typical day.
What keeps
You're waking up, depends on the day. No,
Mhm.
I actually agree. It's the chat GPT questions. It's the feeling like that I have to ask questions. So here are the top 3 questions that I'm just gonna ask. It doesn't tell me that you're engaged throughout the interview. What about, have you been asked a question that has been a good question? That you're like, I like this question.
I'll ask. I can't think of the exact question. It's more of the intent behind the question, right? It's like it's saying whether or not they're looking at our mission and how they add value to the future. That really gets me. If you can ask that question, I'd love to answer that,
I love it.
Yeah. I like the question when people ask me if I like working for the company, because it's like, it gives me a chance to kind of,
brag
a little bit and be like, yes, I do like the company.
You're like, actually, I love this company.
Yes, I love this company.
Once I received a question like, what was the most challenging part of your adaptation process here to sls.guru is, like Penny said, it's not the question, it's what is behind that question.
Yeah.
So I think she was looking for me telling her what is that part that I don't like about the company. So you have to be very careful when you give this answer and when you also receive the question, because it's a very interesting question that you need to know how to answer, because it could change the whole process from that.
And because in that interview, again, you're not necessarily only talking to the person's also making a decision on if this is the role that's the right fit for them. And I will always tell people, you also have a decision to make, right? Like like I said, it's a two-way conversation. Yes, a lot of the times we're asking the questions, but I want you to be there and ask your own question to see that this is the right place for them. Ask about, what kind of projects. I think that for me, some of the better questions is like, okay, so what kind of project are you guys working on right now? I have this and this skill. Would this something be helpful? Like right in the question, they're almost answering and kind of selling themselves or telling me the benefit of having them on, because it's a question, but it shows that you thought about it and you understand the role. You reviewed the posting, because let me tell you, my postings, at least I will tell you, I worked hard on those postings. So come to those interviews ready for those roles, because they're not just vague postings. Those are people that spend time, as we were talking about before. We're looking for certain types of people to come on and become part of the team and excel. So knowing those things is really important. So now,
Very important.
So now the interview is done, right? The nerves are calmed. I closed my laptop. I've done what Penny did. I'm like, oh my God, did I really just say, what's my biggest weakness? I have OCD and I'd love to be like, okay, why did I say this? So cliche. How dare I say this? Did I blink enough? Like all of a sudden I'm like, oh my God, did I use my hand too much? I'm just in my head. This could just be me. I'm not sure about the rest of you guys, but for me, I'm always like, did I do it right? But you guys are in the hiring, room, virtual room. When everyone leaves, Tyler, what happens next? What is the process?
So this is kind of like where we are reviewing our notes. We're looking at your resume. We're kind of saying, how did they do during the meeting? Were they confident? Were they deceptive? Were they, speaking so fast that you had no idea what they said? Were they speaking so slow that you were like, will this ever end? All of that gets factored in to basically point towards, are they going on to the next step, or is this kind of where it ends? So we take that time to review all that stuff and make that decision.
And I love it. And then, so Penny, are you guys arm wrestling? Is it typically a consensus? What is happening? They're like, no, I like this candidate. I don't like this candidate. How do you guys make this decision based on the notes and the confidence and hearing the feedback?
I mean, officially, it's a consensus, right? We get to a consensus. It's not always arm wrestling. It might just be outright wrestling. I don't know. Sometimes, but I think it's a healthy debate. I think every person, when they're sitting in an interview or they're reviewing a resume or assessments or LinkedIn or any of these things, we are seeing different things based on our own individual experiences that we're bringing to the table. And so that debate afterward to me is the most important, I think, to discuss and get to. Now, sometimes we all end and we're like, yay or nay, right? Sometimes we just know. Yeah. But other times we have to discuss it and see what you saw. And I was like, I didn't even see that. Oh, okay. And then we talk about it.
I love it. Do you typically have one or two people in the interview process? That's just for someone to know.
Yeah, one or two.
I love it. Okay. Diana, have you interviewed someone who had the bad interview, but was a great candidate, and you maybe thought about it, made you rethink about the candidate? And have you had a great interview that you're like, oh, I see the potential, but it's not necessarily the greatest resume on paper.
Yes. When it happens that we know this candidate is a great candidate because we have seen a lot of potential due to a professional background, to their academic background, and we know this candidate have potential for the position we are looking for, and somehow they are not having the most like the amazing interview at that moment. We always need to take into account and be aware that we are looking for people who works with code in machines and screens all the time, but we are still humans. Again, our favorite word today. So anything could happen before that meeting, and that's the reason why they are not performing the way we are expecting to. So we can't forget that we are dealing with humans and real human beings there, and people that can be having a bad day at home or even with their kids or their parents or something like that. And on the other hand, people who had I don't know, not the best resume on paper, but during the interview they showed a lot of skills and great energy and a great cultural, not only cultural fit but cultural at. Okay, they will definitely move forward into the process. So could happen both ways.
And I think for me, there was actually exactly what you said. Someone was great on paper. When we met them, they kind of fell flat. And I think me and this other team member, we were interviewing them, and we looked at each other. We're like, something is off. Like, this person seemed like they should be great. And then I think we did like another 15 minutes. Like, hey, we have a few more questions to ask. And then like we scheduled another 15 minutes at another time because we saw the potential. It just, you can tell, as Diana said, like, they just definitely had an off day. And let me tell you, they definitely just had an off day because they came back for that 15 minutes and they killed it. You can tell like they were really, really ready. And one of the things is we are hiring humans, right? We are hiring people, and people are affected by all kinds of things. And sometimes we just need to give them grace. I do actually want to hear one Tyler story. Tyler, I'm going to ask you this. You've had an interesting interview recently. And the reason why I wanted to bring this up is because I want it to be like a cautionary tale, because we're talking about humans. So can you tell us about the time recently that you've had, I want to say, a non-human / human interview?
Yeah, you talk about the return of face swap.
Yeah.
So yeah, we were in an interview and we were meeting with one person, or so we thought. It was actually two, because when he looks down and comes back up, his real face is behind the mask. And so it's like, you're sitting there and you're trying to ask yourself, like, did I just see that, or am I crazy? And then you get your screenshots ready and you're like, all right, I'm going to screenshot this the next time he looks down. And sure enough, it was switching to a totally different face from what the person we were interviewing looked like. And then we've also had, voice changers and things like that make them sound deeper. And, it just ends up looking like a poorly dubbed, episode on Netflix. Like, it's just, they're talking, it stops, and then you hear the voice afterwards and you're like, what is going on? But yeah, it's just, people, I think that in a lot of people's minds, a hiring team is looking for a certain person, and everyone's just trying to fit that person.
But can I say though, even though you're doing code, you are going to talk to people. So unless you're planning to be this person 24/7, unless you're planning to be this, on-screen persona all the time, like, the jig is going to be up. So I know a lot of people, whether they're using live, AI to answer their interviews. And let me tell you, we can always tell.
Yeah, please don't do that.
We can always tell. And I will say one thing, and I think we talked about this. I would rather you tell me I don't know,
Yes.
right? And tell me how you would find out, then be like, oh, and then I would do this. Because I don't think we have gotten as good as we think with using live AI answers and questions. Would you guys agree?
Yes. Yes.
Totally. It will give you extra points
Yes.
on
Have
the
you
I don't know.
seen a lot more of that recently in interviews?
Yes.
There's definitely an uptick for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Lots of it. I interviewed someone on Monday who they kept looking down and you could see them like reading something, and then they look up. They're like, oh, I'm not reading that down there, and they answer the question, but immediately they hit a pause where they're like, oh crap, I forgot the rest of it. Let me read some more. So they go back and then they're either one reading pre-prepared answers or they're reading something that's generating answers. But either way, it just shows the lack of knowledge there.
Or preparedness, right? Like be prepared.
Mhm.
Be prepared and show up as you.
Yeah.
Authentic, right? We want the human. If we wanted the
We do.
AI, would have just hired the AI.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We
Exactly.
also have access to AI. I know it's
Mhm.
crazy, but we have also that same access.
Mhm.
So, we spend so much time talking about candidates being nervous, but you guys seem like people that are, your heart's in it. So, Penny, you're giving me the most right now. Have you ever been excited to call someone and, make that offer? And how do you feel when you get that to that point?
Well, nervous, definitely. For sure. Never think that I'm not nervous. I'm always excited though. I'm very excited because by the time we get to that point, we've all come to a consensus that this person is going to thrive in this environment. And I just feel like they won the golden ticket. And so because I felt the same way when I came on, right? And the environment here is very good and people support each other and our culture is phenomenal. And so I always want somebody else to come, but we've found the person who has the right values, characters, all those things, that's willing to go on this journey with us on the future. So
No, I
definitely.
love it. And let me ask you then, Diana, what makes someone successful at SLS that isn't necessarily written in the job description? Like now that they're signed, now we're good. We move past, they're part of the team. Yay, team.
Mm-hmm.
I love this team.
Someone who can work with other people, that they can be aware that even if you don't see your colleagues all the time, because you are most of the time sending Slack messages or something like that, you still have people behind that screen and they're still like you. And so I think flexibility and a great teamwork will make them success here, because it goes aligned with what we are. Empathy, a lot of empathy too, as we see. This is our team here. What you guys are seeing here in this streaming, that's what we are, and that's we are looking for in an additional team member here. So I'll say that.
And Tyler, I think what surprises a lot of new hires about working here when they start, like when they join this team, they're like, this is exciting.
I think the biggest one is that we incentivize them growing their own skills. That's always a big one, that when we mention that we have those bonus programs around upskilling, people always go, what? You're going to basically pay me to, get smarter and learn new things? It's like, yeah, because that doesn't just benefit us, it benefits you. It's overall just good for everybody. And I think that's one that everyone is really confused and kind of excited about.
Let me tell you, I've gotten multiple certifications on this with this organization just for that reason. I'm like, oh, you want me to do this? Of course I'll do it.
Me too.
You want me to be better at what I do? Okay, I definitely will do that.
I'll take it.
Yeah, I'll take it. What do you mean? I don't even need the technical, but you know what? It does make you better at what you do. Like, yes, it might not be something you thought about, but all of a sudden you're like, I think I understand technical a little bit better because I'm not a
Yes.
technical person, but I work with the
Yes.
technical teams,
Uh-huh.
and it's definitely something that's really helpful. I
Mhm.
absolutely agree. And this is the human series, the first one, and we are on the human side of hiring. With AI changing how we work, what human qualities matter more than ever, Penny? Like, what do you truly want people to think of? And I think similar to what Diana and what Tyler said, like, what do we want when people show up?
In comparison to AI, I think it's highlighting people's character, and so that's what I'm looking for in general. I'm looking for who you bring to the table. What I think of immediately actually is the movie Good Will Hunting. Ironically enough, where I'll relate it to AI, where AI can tell you everything about the Sistine Chapel. It can tell you about the marble. It can tell you about the rocks that went into it, the people, the years that it took. It can tell you everything about it, but it can't tell you what it smells like on a Tuesday in May after it rained, right? It can't do that. Only a human can do that. So we're hiring humans. We're not hiring for AI. That's a tool, and we of course use it. But I'm looking for your overall character and what you as the human bring to the table.
So, Dana, this kind of makes me think about something you said earlier about a cultural fit versus a cultural add. How do we hire for culture without hiring all the same people thinking the same way?
I think you need to be aware of the team, the current team, and what we already have. So we don't look for, of course, same things and similar things are more than welcome, but we are also looking for an extra and different things, like things that can bring value to the team on the same level, and things that can be aligned with our values and our practices inside serverless. So it's good to find a great cultural fit, but not only that, but a cultural add to our team. So different things, different way of thinking, new tools, new experience that can be complement to the current team, not the same thing, like you said, different things, but on the same level, of course.
I think the idea of diversity in thought comes to mind as well. Like
Yes.
having the same skill is great, but having diversity in your background, your education, your thought process. Even I think one of the things that I actually love about being at SLS is we have people from across the globe, literally across the globe. And the vast difference in experience just by location alone gives people different ways to think about things. You're like, have you thought about it this way? Have you thought about it this way? And I think that's something that SLS really does. I think, talking about, what people are surprised at is we really are remote, but we're across the globe. So you have someone from Brazil, someone from India, someone from like Dubai, someone from like Serbia. You have it all, and that just how people grow up and how people get their their experience and all that gives everyone a diversity in thought. And I think that's really important and different expertise level. So I agree. I do have 2 questions that I want to ask because I don't want people to think that we're ignoring them. Has the definition of the right person for your team ever changed? And if it did, what caused that shift? That could be for anyone.
All the time.
All the time.
Changes all the time. We bring forward what we think is the right person, and then we get told, hey, actually, that's not what we're looking for at all. And you say, oh, well, why didn't you say that at the beginning? And then
I might have said that. This could have been me. Tyler's talking about me. I'm just gonna let you guys know. Tyler's talking about me.
Yeah, it starts the whole but you know what? We grow from it, and we learn new things, and it's how we find the better right person for the job.
Yes.
So yeah.
Sorry, Tyler. I take accountability for this one. I do have another question. When business pressure demands you fill a role fast, they're all demanding to fill a role fast. But how do you find the people without compromising on qualities you've been talking about throughout this show?
That's a good question. Well,
Mm.
one, we use tools like sometimes GPT to speed up the process of different things. We use filters within our applications that we use to suss out different job skills and things like that, assessments, LinkedIn profiles, different things to speed up the process for sure.
Referral. We have this referral program, and the referral usually works pretty well.
I think referrals, and also that we're in a lot of like vendor events. I
Uh-huh.
think we meet a lot of
Yes.
people. So if
Yep.
if you ever see us at a show or an event, do come talk to us, because
Yes,
I think
please.
Do it.
a lot of times it's not only for our product, it's for our people.
Mhm.
So don't necessarily like do come and talk to us, because it's just as important, because we then have, you know, a set of people that we can bring in for projects as it needs to be, right? And that's the other thing. I think one of the things that we do have is we have an arsenal of people that are always ready to get on a project. So there is, so sometimes we do have that people on the bench, as I like to call them, experts on the bench. So
Mhm.
sometimes we can supplement when needed.
Yeah.
Okay, final 10 minutes, guys. Lightning round. If you give me a TED Talk, I'm gonna cut you off. Only I'm allowed to give TED Talks on this show. So, and don't say depends. It's my least favorite question, because I say it all the time. So only I can say depends. Yes, I run this, so I'm gonna have it my way. So, LinkedIn profile, important or not?
Important.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So fill it in. Make sure it's up to date, because that's how a lot of people find you. Okay.
Mhm.
And put in all
Put a
those
picture.
extra pieces. Oh,
Put a picture.
Have
Yes,
a
please do.
picture, please.
Are you saying people looks matter?
No,
Yes.
but it's
Yes,
how
it
we
does.
verify you're real.
Oh, they have verification on LinkedIn.
Yes, they have.
Anybody can pay for that.
Oh, is it paid for? Never mind. I was gonna go get it done.
Yeah.
Question that again.
Important. LinkedIn is important.
It's important. It is.
Sure.
It's absolutely.
Cover letter. Are we reading them? Or are we skipping them?
Skip.
Skip them.
Save your time. We already know it's AI generated, anyways. Be serious. Degree or experience?
Experience.
Experience.
Tyler?
Experience.
Don't say depends.
A little of both, but experience is heavier for sure.
Okay, I like that. Potential or proven track?
Proven track for me.
I
stand by it.
for sure.
Potential.
A bit of both.
Both. Okay, but potential. What if you have a proven track and then you just give up on life?
What if you have potential and do nothing with it?
Oh, that's true too.
Gosh. Come here.
Okay, Diana
and
wins.
Let them grow.
Both.
Oh,
Oh, you win. Both.
Yep, fair enough. Both.
fine, Diana. You win. Okay. Coffee chats or formal interviews?
Coffee chats.
Coffee chats for sure.
Coffee chats. So are you telling me for people to find you guys on LinkedIn, and we're gonna put them in the chat, everybody's LinkedIn, to find you guys?
Yeah.
It's on every email I send.
Yeah, that's true.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, your biggest interview cliche. For me, ChatGPT questions at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A question that turns a positive into a negative so that you can talk about the positive.
Oh, like, oh, what's your weakness? And you're like, oh, but then okay.
I work too much, that type of, yeah.
Mm.
I mean, okay. One skill that everyone should develop.
Ah,
Communication skills. It is
Yeah.
the most underrated
one.
skill
It
people
is.
have.
it is. It
To
is.
me.
Yeah. You can have the right experience, but if you can't communicate them, it's like if you don't have it.
I agree.
Agreed.
I agree. Okay. One thing candidates should stop worrying about when they're in interviews.
Having the perfect answer for
Yeah.
me.
Good
There
one.
isn't one.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And I think feeling judged. Stop worrying about if you're feeling judged. It's just be you, I think. Okay.
Yes.
Are AI generated applications obvious or not? Are they becoming so good that we're not?
Super obvious.
They're
So
not so
obvious.
good. They're very obvious. Very obvious.
Very obvious.
Nobody's 100% for a role. And
Mhm.
if you are, you probably already have a job that's paying you really well.
So what the hell you're doing here?
Yeah, what are you doing? Yeah, I think that if you're a perfect fit, it almost makes you less of a fit in my mind, because it's like
Yes.
I immediately become suspicious.
Mhm.
Love that. And can I also, one of those is and I know someone in the comments or someone's gonna listen to this and be like, no, you're wrong. Every application website tells me this. Stop putting every single line with a number. No, you did
Yes,
not.
please.
It was not 23% process improvement. I can tell you. Like, unless
Don't.
you work for the most, perfect company, no one can get those numbers so perfect. I don't know. Am I the only one? Like, I've been
Oh, you're right. You're
for
right.
decades. I've been working for decades, and I'm just like, I don't think I can quantify every single
No.
position I've had. So to me,
Also, you have only like 6 or 7 seconds for the recruiter to write your CV. So if we are seeing a lot of numbers, it will get okay. No, next.
because you also know that it's AI generated at
Of
that point,
course, of
Of course.
course.
like, right? That's also like a fit. Okay.
Mhm.
So I think one of the biggest takeaway today is we're not finding the perfect fit. We're not trying to find people who can. What we're trying to do is find people who can communicate, who can contribute, and make the team stronger. I think that's what we're all trying to do. Make sure that our clients are satisfied, our team stronger. It's really about continuing to be happy to be here and contribute. So I want to end with one final question. If your best friends want to be here at SLS tomorrow, what advice would you give them that you might not see in a job posting?
Be yourself.
Yes. Be
Just
yourself.
show up as you, because it speaks volumes over showing up and just being like, yep, I know everything. Just be you. Be confident, and also have a little humility and say, like, hey, I may not know everything, but I'm willing to learn.
You had me at
Be
confident.
wrong.
Yeah.
Please
Yeah.
be wrong, because
Yes.
that's what we
Yeah.
are. We're not
That's
perfect.
how you grow and learn, for sure.
Yeah.
That's how I know you're not AI.
Yes.
Oh my God, that is the perfect answer. Thank you so much. That's what I mean, like, how like AI always agrees with, also don't always agree with me, please.
Mhm.
Because
They do.
if I need another me, I already have me. I need someone who can,
I don't need. Yeah.
I need another brain that can like think with me, not as me. No, I love
I
that.
agree, Rania.
Like, one of me is a lot. I don't know if we can have two of me. You had me in confident, humility. You lost me a little bit.
I just think it's equally as important, because together they, it creates more authentic confidence. Because you can be confident and just say, yeah, I'm great at everything, but somebody who's authentically confident is also confident when they're saying that they don't know something.
Yeah. And also, one thing I always tell people, some people are personality hires, right?
Yeah.
Like, I know stuff, but I promise you, I think I'm a personality hire. That's why I appreciate you, Diana. For bringing me
It's
on and
blue.
be like, I see that potential. She says a lot of things, but I feel like she's gonna fit in. So you don't have to be perfect, but you do have to be you. So for everyone that's listening, everyone that's watching today, hopefully today this helped you, be a little bit more confident in, any hiring position. Feel it to be a little bit less mysterious. It's not this thing that's happening behind closed doors. These people are real. These people that interview you are real. These people that are reading your applications are real. So behind every SLS application you're putting in, one of these people is reading it. And, they're just humans hiring humans. So that's all we're asking for, is for you to be human, because we have tools to not otherwise. So thank you so much. This is going to be an ongoing series about the human series. So keep a lookout for our next stream. Jonathan's going to jump on here to tell us how amazing we did, right, Jonathan? Because he always wants to be a part of it.
You are wrong. No, you're right. I'm here to tell everybody that If you enjoyed this, we'll be doing this monthly. It won't be the same cast of humans each time, unless you guys beg for it. Then we can bring on Tyler or Diana, Penny again to talk about whatever you guys want to hear from them. But Rania will most likely be our consistent host, unless we get a bunch of jeers in the
I
comments.
was gonna say, unless you get a
Yeah, let us
like
know if
that.
you don't like Rania. This is going to be a really fun new series that I'm personally really excited for as someone who's more non-technical. I think that we're going to have a lot of amazing insights into, the people who make Serverless Guru special, not just the technical folks, but everyone on the team. So if you like this, feel free to check us out every month. We should be running one of these. You can find little shorts and clips from this show, hopefully dropping soon. And follow us on LinkedIn, on Twitter, things like that. Follow these amazing people on the same platforms to hear more. But yeah, that's the end of our stream. Thank you guys so much for joining, and I'll see you guys next time.